I'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Yep. So yeah, off angling, that makes sense. I found that like flanking, it'd be like if we wipe them, I'd sort of like push forward and hide, maybe sit in their sort of back line waiting for like, you know, like an Ana
Yeah.
or a Widow.
And that can happen
And
once
then
in a
trying
while.
to leave. When I try to leave, I always like fucking die.
Yeah.
Oh, she's asleep. Oh shit. I should have mined him. Ah shit. Oh, there's a sniper.
Okay.
Oh, too far. Oh, the McCree. Oh shit. I don't know why that didn't kill him. I might try and go over here. Take an off angle.
Good projectile aim so far.
This is where I might sort of come this way. Oh,
Very nice.
so they should all have their ults here. I want to stay away from that Sig. If he wants to get me, he'll have to solo me. Oh. So 10 seconds, is it? I think for Widow.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna try something crazy. Oh! Never mind, I was gonna go for a tire. He's behind us. Oh! No! I wanted to get behind that pole and then ult. I wanted to stay
Yeah.
on point. Everyone was forward.
So probably at any point there could have ulted, even just like if you wanted to go pick off the McCree, since it was
Yeah.
once you get to that, if you're watching the time bank, each tick being a second, if once you get to that like 20-15 second range, that's like last fight territory. So getting a really early pick there can be pretty valuable. So
Yeah,
could have
okay.
ulted him sooner, and then also just watch pushing through the open, and up against characters who can just shoot you super easy.
Yeah. I think if I had just solo ulted him, then maybe the team would have came back. We might have
Yeah, and then you
not lost
wouldn't be
that.
down too.
Yeah. Okay, one down. I'm gonna jump close here for a better tire. I'm gonna tire here. Just get the Sigma.
Very nice.
Oh, I missed that one.
All right, very nice.
Doable. I think my mines are a bit rough.
Hmm.
Like my aim on my mines.
Yeah, which practicing, that'll be something that comes with time and practice and warming up and like doing the thing that you are doing and just practicing it before you hop into comp games, things like that. You'll start to get better with it. I think so far
Yeah.
your mind movement seems pretty solid.
I need to realize when I have like two mines and throw one down and sort of let the other one recharge.
Yeah.
But I find that I like I'll run out of mines sort of during a fight. It'll be
Yeah.
like, oh shit, alright, I need to leave, and then it's like, oh, I got no mines to leave.
Yep. So mind management and making sure you're just like holding on to some of them.
Yeah, I just want to get some.
Yep.
I want to get there first with the mine so I could get some spam out. I want to
Yep. Sometimes you're doing some blind spamming, like you're just like chucking it up over things. I'd recommend just like trying to get visibility so you know at least where you're shooting.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my god. How did that Bab get there? No, shot! I hate traces. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Oh my god! Ah,
Hmm.
shit.
Yep. So just missing the shots, and then we got want to probably watch deaths because deaths are a really big mistakes that we can look to improve on a lot of the time. So once again, dying probably because we're out in the open, kind of isolated from our team as well.
Yeah. Oh, that Visario. I should probably wait. I'm gonna try and trap him here. Get him away, start shooting the healers. Oh, I miss. Oh my god. Get her! Get her!
Very nice. Very nice.
Jesus. Oh, the McCree was behind us. I think I want to go up there. Oh, fuck that one up. Aw, damn.
All right. So why do you think you died there?
Definitely too far forward. They all sort of collapsed on me.
Yeah. So watching where you're standing, being ready to mine away if you need to, but also like you said, just a little too far forwards.
I wonder. Oh, I should probably get rid of my ult here.
Yeah.
Wonder if I could initiate with it. Wonder if I can jump this Kiriko. Oh, wasted Suzu? Oh no. That was a skill issue.
Yeah, as well as the fact that like I think it was a decent idea, but I think they had more than just Kiriko up there, and being aware of that
Yeah.
means that it's probably not a good idea to try to 1v2.
Alright, they don't have a Baptiste. I'm going for this. Damn. I wonder if I could push past them. Should probably get tap here. I need to get time here. Damn.
Thing. Watch where your teammates are at, because if they're able to touch for you, then there's no reason why you should try, because for example, your Junker Queens can be able to touch easier than you can, right? So
Yeah.
try to, if at all possible, try to let somebody else touch, and then you touch if they can.
Yeah, okay.
Back on that play when we jumped up to high ground and we had Tire, I think using Tire to initiate was a good idea. One thing is that if you're just like kind of sneaking around underneath, make sure to like crouch and like don't try not to make sounds. Watch just jump spamming because that's extra clunky, and they'll hear it from a
Yeah.
mile away and they'll know that you're there and they'll be able to drop on you and shoot you, and you won't be able to get a surprise Tire off. But imagine if like your whole team's walking high ground and you just kind of slow walk underneath. You get right
Yeah.
underneath them, and then you can get a tire off from where they don't, where they're not expecting, and you could get like get the BAP or the Kiriko McCree maybe,
Yeah.
sort of idea.
What's like my focus? Like, do I focus supports or do I sort of like focus DPS in
Um,
this meta? Or I
Supports
should
and
just like get
DPS
defense?
are both good to go for. It's gonna kind of just depend on who's more free and available to shoot at a lot of the time. I think you just gotta also look at who's easier. In these different situations, some supports are easier, some DPS are easier.
Yeah.
Be careful about dive bombing in when you have nothing in particular to dive bomb.
Yep.
If you're dive bombing, you should probably want it to be safe-ish.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This McCree is he's not missing.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. So yeah, dive bombing I guess isn't as good, especially if like sort of when I dive bomb, it's pretty much just gonna get a trade at best,
Yeah.
and sort of die at worst.
Yeah. So like you can do it like if you're just trying to like pop, like if you can like jump up in the air if you're just like popping up to get some damage in, get a different angle, you see someone who's low HP. But I wouldn't like jump into the middle of their team if that's just gonna get you killed.
Yeah. Should I sort of? Oh, the the Marissa killed the Widow. I was gonna say, is it my job to sort of go for Widow here? I want to see if I can pull him down to point.
Very, very nice.
I was scared. Oh, okay. Oh my god.
Okay. Notice how far away from your teammates you are. So you're not gonna be able to get
Yeah.
healed or any team support. As well as we're gonna talk about some positioning as after this game's over, because I think a lot of our deaths are us being out in the open, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. I do find that like I'm sort of just sitting there in that little corner and just oh, not the way I wanted to go. Let's see if maybe I can get an angle here. Our team's here. Get him off the map! Get off the map! No! Damn, the knockback ain't enough. I'm gonna ult here. Oh, Gedgy. I want to get up there. Oof. Oh, they haven't got a... Damn. Oh, that Baptiste is low. Oh! That's no good! No!
Unfortunate.
Oh, shit.
Sometimes you accidentally just fall into grabs.
I guess that's also like a, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I need to like, that's a cool skin. I don't know if I should like stay sort of with my tank or like sort of peel and take like another angle.
Yeah, no, you don't always have to stay with your tank.
Oh, they're gonna get, I need to go. He's gonna get me. Yeah, it's worth it. I don't know. I just need to go.
Yep. So you can try to if you especially if you hear that, you can try to wait it out because you once again you can see that you have teammates on point, so your teammates can kind of cover it. Do be like kind of what they're saying. You can be careful of charging up the Zarya. So I'd only ever shoot at a Zarya if you think that you can kill her. Right, that's a lot of really the general rule. So if you're not gonna get the kill on her by breaking her bubble, then don't even bother shooting because then you're just feeding her and then she's just gonna shred, especially with how good she is right now.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a quick look at like your KD. which was I think what were you like
Very rough.
to like 18 to 10 or something like that. Something something.
Um, History, game reports, Busan.
16,
Yeah,
16, 10. All right. So, um, I think that when you were able to get in on top of things and shoot at them, it was working well. I'm gonna stream here, so you don't have to hop into
I
a queue
can
quite yet.
cancel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were getting able to kill things, you were doing good.
Mm,
And but I think a problem was probably the main problem was just like too many deaths, right? If you're dying 10
yeah.
times, that's a lot of time in your game that you're missing out on. Deaths obviously are bad, but we don't want to just like leave it there. If I, how helpful would it be
Yeah.
if I came into a coaching session and just said, you died too much, all right, have fun fixing
Yeah.
it? Um,
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be very helpful, but usually when we think about deaths, we want to think about like what can we do to fix them. But firstly, let's just talk about why are deaths so bad. Deaths, obviously, people know and believe deaths are bad in Overwatch, but typically they don't actually think through how bad they are. So let's
Mm,
think through why they're bad. Firstly, with your deaths, you're not just getting zero value when you die. You're actually, in fact, getting negative value when you die because when you're dying, you're making your team more likely to lose the fight without you. And then you also just put yourself out of the game for a really long time. So let's say you have 10 deaths in a game. Each death, approximately 10 seconds of respawn and then 10 seconds of walkback, roughly speaking.
mm,
So 20 seconds per death that you're out of the game for, and then you do that 20 times 10 divided by 60. So that means that you have in that game 3 minutes and 20 seconds that you're just non-existent for, right? And if you have
yeah.
3 minutes and 20 seconds out of how long is that game? 10-minute game? That's like a third of your
Yeah.
game. Um,
Yeah.
so it ends up just being a lot of time that's spent just dead and walking back, dead and walking back. And
Mm,
when you continuously do that, then you don't get you really cut down on your ability to do things, your ability to carry. You end up getting
mm,
that negative value for your team. Whereas if you reduce your deaths, well, now you're able to kill more things, do more damage, get more ults, output more raw
mm,
stats, as well as have the ability to carry more and do more things. So that's going to be
yeah.
a really big first step, I'd say, for your own gameplay and how you can look to improve. Is that like you're doing good on the like, oh, I shoot things and kill them, but we want to make sure that
Yeah.
we're staying alive when we're doing it, because if we're dying, then we just do that less. Um,
Mm.
so
I found
good.
I found sometimes like when I play Junkrat, let's say I'm like, I don't know, sort of on holding like another angle, sort of spamming. I
Mhm.
find that like I'm staying alive, they come in. I find also sometimes that like, okay, they're coming in, I leave, and then I'm sort of gone, and I wonder if like maybe I should stay there, apply as much pressure, and make them look at me sort of as much
Mm.
as possible. I don't
Yeah.
know if Junkrat is sort of a player you're meant to look at. I sort of coming from TF2, it's like, okay, I have this crazy mobility. Let me do some crazy movement, make
Mhm.
them all look at me, think what I'm doing is going to be incredible. You know, I'm in the
Mhm.
skybox or something, and they all look at me, and they're not looking at my teammates. But I feel like that isn't the case. I
Yeah,
guess.
now you can kind of like do a similar effect by like you can create space with the pressure you have from your gun. Like a lot of people aren't, for
Mm,
example, like if you're just like holding this angle right here, they're not down this choke point right here, this tiny little funnel. They're not gonna want to just like push through this. So in that sense, they're going to be looking at you and you're creating space for your team. But I'd say it's not super valuable to just like kind of like mine around if your mines aren't doing anything, because
mm,
it's a longer cooldown and it's such limited value. If they're looking at you for 5 seconds, um, and they're shooting at you, but you're not doing anything back to them, well then different problems come in. Like you're relying on your teammates to do work for you, which can work if you're
Yeah.
being like really uber distracting. But if you're kind of just like, you know, bouncing around for a second, then it's not like you're,
Mm,
you know, it's not like you're being super distracting. And then even if you are being really distracting, then once again, you're relying on other people then to do the work for you, which sometimes just, or a lot of the times isn't going to work if you're, you know, relying on other plat players to win plat games for you kind of deal. So it
yeah.
can get value, but I'd say limited value, and it's circumstantial, and you'll find it's nuanced when you want to do that.
Yeah. I also find that like just thinking about it, it's like, okay, there's a Junkrat in the sky. He's got no ability cooldowns.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, just sort of spent it all, which is something I'm finding a lot in sort of Overwatch. Is like, okay, they've used this ability. It's on cooldown. I can go in. Sort of like before with the Suzu. It's like, oh, she wasted it. Let me. That's why I was sort of like, okay, I'm gonna sort of sacrifice or like sack for the Kiriko because she would gain like, she's like uber useful at the moment. She's like really good. So like, if I could trade my
Mhm.
sort of DPS, you know, dead shit Junkrat for this Kiriko, like it'd sort of be worth it. But
Yeah. So
I just
let's
sort of get
yeah,
out of that.
which is a good thought. In the sometimes like you do get value out of it, but I would argue that it's limited value. Like it's very minor value that you would get out of doing a
Mm,
1-for-1 trade, even if your character's better. So like let's say for example you take out a tank as a DPS and then you die. Like
yeah,
yes, it is like technically a like of value for you to have done that, but realistically like if you're trying to climb your and win games, you don't win games by trading, because if you're trying to climb, you're assuming that your team's kind of going to be dead weight, because if you're playing in plat lobbies, your
yeah,
teams are plat players, their team is plat players, your team will always go 50-50 with their team. So
mm,
if you take out their tank, then your team is only going to have like a 50% percent chance of winning that fight. In comparison to if you go and kill 2, 3 people, well, then they're going to be much, much more likely to win that fight.
yeah,
So therefore, a lot of times you're going to find more value and carry value out of staying alive and killing more things, because that's more. It's more value than just trading, right?
yeah.
It's still value, but you want to try to get
You want
maximum
more. You
value.
want the most.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you're trying to try
that
to
makes sense.
climb and carry your games.
Mm,
So for example, let's talk about like KD for a second, and then we'll wrap back around to staying alive and how you can do that. But
mm,
KD, typically, generally speaking, like zero KD or negative KD, obviously very bad for you.
mm.
If you have a zero KD, right,
Yep.
not doing nothing. If you have a negative KD, you're doing worse than nothing. If you have a one
Mm,
KD, same thing, not really doing anything. 2 KD,
mm.
so you were like 1.6 KD or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, that's basically the like barely doing anything range. Like
yeah.
you're just kind of doing you're almost exist. You're kind of
Yeah.
existing. Like that's kind of what you're
I
doing.
I wish they had like a DPM stat. That's what, or like KPM, which is what
Kills per
I'm used
minute
to. Yeah,
or
or even sorry,
they have
DPM, not
damage per
DPM.
minute.
Yeah, we
They have
usually use that.
They have damage per 10 is kind of like the stat in Overwatch. So you can
What
look
the
through
what is that?
damage per
Damage
10
per 10?
minutes. 10 minutes.
Oh,
Mhm. Yeah,
the fuck.
so let's see.
Is that
Damage, hero
per
damage
replay?
done, best average per 10 minutes. So you can see if you just like go to statistics,
Um,
I mean,
uh,
this is
career statistics.
this is an
Oh wait, it
example where
says
you
you're
can see.
live. Oh, I
Yep.
couldn't see your stream this whole time.
Oh, it's fine.
Oh my
I
god.
haven't really been demonstrating too much yet,
Okay.
but
Okay, good.
um but you can see in
So where's it saying that?
statistics, you can see on the right hand side it says average per
Yeah.
10 minutes. So eliminations
Um,
average per 10 minutes, assists average per 10, deaths average per 10, final
um,
blows, and then hero
yeah,
damage done average per 10 minutes. So you can see averages, but
yeah. Wish I was
it's a
like
yeah.
per game. That would be good if it was sort
Um
of per game.
Per game, I'm not sure. I can't see replays from here. It won't let me.
Yeah.
It might
That's
show
all.
that in like in that summary you're looking at, but I'm not sure. Um, so then if you get like let's say a 3 KD, it's 3 KD's like okay, you're doing your job as like a 3 KD, right? That's
Yep.
you're now like sufficiently doing something, but it's still not like that's not like carry potential range, right? That's just you're doing something like you're probably now at this point like maybe like you have a 55% chance of winning, right? You're still not, it's still not doing too much for you. Now you get to
Yeah.
4 to 5. Now you're doing pretty solid, 4 to 5 KD. Like
Mm.
now you've increased your odds of winning the game, but you haven't like guaranteed your chances of winning.
Mm.
6 to 7 or 6, let's say like 6, 7, 8 is going to be or even 9, like 6 to 9, right? Something like that range. That's the like now you're playing really good range, and you have really increased your chances of winning. But carry range is probably like that 10 plus range. If you have like a 10 KD plus, then you are in like the carry potential range, and you should theoretically be winning that even if you have really bad teammates. It's
Yeah.
just the idea, just to give you like a frame of reference and what you should be looking for. But let's talk
Mm.
about now. Now that we've talked about the theory, let's talk about how do you actually put that into practice. I said before, I don't want to just say don't die, because if you say
Yeah.
that, that's not very helpful. So when you're identifying mistakes, and this is really how you work on anything that you're trying to improve on, and or you're trying to figure out what you're doing wrong so you can work and get better at the game, is you
Mm.
identify mistakes. So in this case, that'd be the death. Then you identify the issue within the mistake. So what are some common reasons why people die in Overwatch?
Definitely too far forward.
Yep, overextension.
Trying to
Yep.
1v5. Um, I'd say like mismanagement of abilities. Like I have a lot of like mobility tools that maybe I engage
Yep. Yep.
too soon on my cooldowns.
Yep. Misuse of abilities, right? Like so, like if you either miss them or overuse them, or you had the ability to use a mine to get away and you didn't, right?
Mm,
That sort of idea. Anything
yeah.
else?
Oh Jesus! Almost fell over. Um, if not too far forward, maybe I'd say almost like taking the wrong fights. Like
Yeah.
sort of like ego or like a 1v1. Like I was trying to 1v1 that McCree. It just wasn't working. I
Yep.
should have
So
taken some
that could
hits.
be like a mismanagement of aggression potentially,
Mm.
which is very valid. All right. So then, as other things as well to add in there, you could have a lack of awareness, right? Like if you didn't notice that a McCree sneaking up behind you,
Mm.
or you can have poor positioning. So a lot of times this can be things like you're just standing smack dab in the middle of the open, so everyone can shoot you.
Yeah.
Or you could have like poor movement, or mechanics. So like you're just kind of walking in a straight line or standing still, or you just miss your shots in a duel, things like that.
Mm.
But let's talk about the one that I think that you struggle with, which obviously I think it's probably not
I
exclusively
think
this, but
positioning is a
yeah.
big part. Like
Mhm.
where am I? Where should I
Yeah,
be?
exactly. So I think a lot of the times positioning is something that is getting you killed, and if we can work on that, then you'll be dying less, which is gonna be really good for survivability and all of that. As well as positioning is cool because it sets you up to do more things as well. Um,
Mm.
so that's step one is mistake. Step two is issue within the mistake. Step three is solution, which we're going to talk about the solution in a second, but the solution is often the opposite of the mistake. So if the problem is that you are out in the open, the solution is usually go stand behind something, right? That kind of idea.
Yeah.
And then finally you're looking for the application, which application is basically going to be the concept of like now that we have some things to work on, how do you actually apply it to your gameplay? Well, you're going to make sure that while you're playing, you're not just kind of playing to win, or just autopiloting as you play, but you're intentionally playing to work on something and improve, which actually leads to improvement, rather than just kind
Mm.
of stagnant games. And what that will look like in your head when you're thinking about it is you'll come into the match with something to work on, and you'll think to yourself, positioning, 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 cover, 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 cover. And when you're constantly thinking about it, well, your positioning is probably going to look a little bit better. And then
Mm.
as you do that for a long enough period of time, it forms it as a habit. Once it forms as a habit, then you can just kind of move on to the next thing because it just comes naturally now. And then final thing is just don't try to do everything all at the same time. If you try to do everything all at the same time, then it just becomes overwhelming for you to try to do everything. So
Yeah.
pick like one category of things or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category to work on. Does that all make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Slow, like going in with the mindset of something to work on, which I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from like doing scrims and all the rest of it, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
we gotta focus on something, at least one thing to sort of work on. Like with positioning, it also sort of comes down to like I don't know the game that well, so I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what to do and when to do it. Like
Yep.
if they're if we've all got ults, so we've all just used our ults and they're trying to sort of get on cart, do I sort of spam cart or do I like hold like the high ground? Do I like deny space?
Yeah.
I find that I struggle like shooting down as Junkrat. I'm
Mm-hmm.
better at shooting upwards, so I kind of struggle.
Yeah.
So like I used to like take the high ground, and be like, okay, you can't be here, I'm here, and I'll try to shoot down at them, and I just suck.
Yeah, which is honestly just something to work on because high ground is really, really good. Which we'll talk about in a second. Let's just talk about. We'll do a quick little positioning fundamentals course here,
Mm,
and we'll talk about a lot of those different things. So if I'm standing here and the enemy team's standing over there, and they're all looking at you, shooting at you, ulting at you, and you're trying to run away, right? Let's say we just used our mine up and we're trying to get
mm,
away. It's gonna take 1, 2, 3 seconds to get behind cover here, and now from cover you cannot shoot through solid objects, so we're all safe and sound, but in that
mm,
time it took you to walk here, you ended up dying. Whereas from here you can do a lot of the same shooting, but you now have the option to get behind cover in half a second, which is 6 times faster than when it just took you up there, which therefore
yeah,
means that good positioning is the usage of cover, whereas bad positioning is the absence of cover. The further away we stray from it, the worse off we're going to be. The great thing
yeah,
is that cover is all over the game. You have things like slopes, you have pillars for when you're in between shots, like
mm,
so. You can do it when you're reloading. You just want to be using things, corners, same deal. Random objects like the payload you can use, pillar, corner, doorway, right there. High grounds, phenomenal positioning. They can see you, now they can't. See you, now they can't. So all high
mm,
ground, as long as you're using it properly, acts as natural cover. And then besides that, 2/3 of the characters need to take the stairs to reach you on the high ground, which is additional survivability because it takes them longer. And then
yeah.
the
Never
and then
thought of that.
the ones that like can get to you, they need to use abilities, which expends resources from them. Um, and then also on top of that, you have a ton of visibility from high ground, so we can see over here, 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 but from low ground, well, we can't see over there, can't see over there, can't see any of that high ground. So you have a ton of visibility. So therefore, high ground a lot of times can be really, really good. And like you said before, because it's good for you, it's also good for them, and therefore you can contest them
Mm,
off of it and give your team that advantage if they need it.
yep.
So I would recommend looking to take it. Now there will be situations where you can drop from high ground if it's not useful in the fight. Like if the fight's happening over here and we're like all the way over here, not a useful high ground to get closer, but maybe we can get to a closer high ground by being over on this one, right? And then
Mm,
now we're in a better position to do things, that sort of thing. That all making sense.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm.
Sort of like bouncing between high ground. I found sometimes like just especially maps, I'd say with like sort of long sightlines, maybe like push where it's like mirrored. A lot of those mids, there's just like some hit scan on the back of the map, or even like back high ground, and it's like, okay, you're doing a lot from there, but I can't close that distance.
Yeah, which you're
Really?
gonna, which like as Junkrat, right? Like what's your range as Junkrat?
From here to that doorway.
From here to that
Sort
doorway.
of thing.
Yeah, so
That's
like
what it feels like.
that's like 20 meters, right?
Yeah.
You see, you can,
Yep.
just as a fun fact, you can see meters above people's heads when you ping them.
Oh shit, there you go.
So that's like about here to there, which I'd say is like about right. You might be maybe even closer. Junkrat like maybe as a preferred of closer, maybe a
Hmm.
preferred of within 10 meters or so.
Yeah.
But then he can play maybe like it kind of
I could play
depends. Like
25.
it, I'd say like you basically are going to lose effectivity, but you can spam depending on like if you're spamming down a choke point or something like that, and then you
Hmm.
kind of like cap out where you're probably not wanting to spam too much past like 30 meters because this is where you get into long range past 30 meters. So you
Yeah.
can spam. So he's best in close range. Mid range is okay. Long range, that's probably pretty questionable. Like we're not gonna be able to land mines from here. Can't land trap.
Hmm.
We're gonna really struggle to like land shots unless there's like a really specific choke that we're hitting it in. So
Yeah.
you were very right. If it's a long open map and they have hit scan, well, one Junkrat is going to struggle just because he's naturally a brawly character, and therefore wide open maps he will as a character struggle. So that just note
Hmm.
that you will be handicapped in those situations. So either A, you could swap, or B, you could just learn to deal with the handicap. It's just kind
Yeah.
of up to you as a player to figure out what you want to do with it.
Yeah.
If you learn to deal with the handicap, then my recommendation would be use a lot of cover. Try to get to them while using cover, right? So if I'm
Yeah.
trying to get from here to over there, right, and get to
Hmm.
point, I'm not just going to waddle down the middle because if I waddle down the middle, then I'm just going to die. So
Hmm.
instead, I can take this route over here and come and take the high grounds, right? And if I'm up on high ground, then I can use cover as I close that gap, and then
Yeah.
now I'm closer to be able to do things um, than I was before. I can do the same thing like from low ground. I can instead of just like running straight down, I can come over here, position over here. I can use mine to close this distance quicker. Um, so I'm not just like waddling through the open, get to that closer range while using cover, and then try to put pressure on them. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah. Yep. He is, yeah, that sort of brawly because he's all very close range.
Yep.
So I suppose that's the more obvious reason of why like I'm sort of struggling because then it's also like okay that soldiers on the high ground, I want to deal with him, so I sort of peel from my team. So I guess I'm torn between like okay, if I'm brawly, do I play with my team or do I sort of
It kind of just
want to
depends on
be
the
on my own?
situation. Like it's like sometimes
Mm,
yeah you should be with your team, especially like if they're like divey and you don't want to be isolated on your own, and you want to be
mm,
able to be in range to get healing sometimes. But like if you're just like jumping up the high ground to get a kill on soldier, it's okay to peel away from your team for a second if you see an opportunity for it. Where like if there's a soldier
mm,
up on this high ground and my team's like over here, I can just like mine up, take the duel, pop, 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 pop. Okay, and he's dead. And if it was just like a 1v1 and nobody else is here, well, then you don't need your team for that. And you can just, at
yeah,
any point, just drop back and be with him. And that's safe and easy to do. It's kind of the same idea as like that off angle that we talked about before, where this is the main angle right here. And then we can just like pop over on the side real quick, get some shots in, and then immediately be back with our team. Um,
yeah, okay, yep,
yeah, where like it's the same concept where you can pop up, take the duel, and then be back with your team very quick and safe. But I wouldn't recommend like going on long flanks in the middle of fights where it's gonna put you out of
mm,
for the fight for a really long time, waste a lot of your time, and you also just want to be careful that you're not trying to like jump into the middle of 5 players. It's just gonna be a little bit
yeah,
nuanced.
yeah. I do have a habit of jumping into people, trying to make the most of it. I found that like it's been alright. I'd say like maybe that last, oh dude, I don't even know the map's names anymore. But like sort of jumping their supports where there is a lot of that good cover, like horizontal cover. I find that
Mm-hmm.
the supports are sort of farther back or they're like up. I guess they're
Mm-hmm.
more horizontal, so I could sort of like jump them and then sort of pressure them. But like, do I gain more value from like pressuring like backline? Let's say like I'm sort of there's like the tanks up front, DPS in the middle, supports at the back. Do I sort of want to get into their sort of middle row, sort of on the side, and like pressure their supports to like block their healing or make them turn to me, or is it better like focus firing someone? I
Um,
guess.
I mean, if you're able to get to the sidelines, like once again, like if you can get that off angle and get to their supports, then go for it because you might be able to get a kill out of that, and then that's good. Um,
Mm,
and you'll be able to just like pop up, shoot stuff, go pow pow pow, get a kill, and then you're back to your team. But if you just like notice that they're putting a lot of pressure on you on the off angle, or it's not an option, off angles won't always be an option. Then
mm,
you can always just then you can always stick with your team too. If they have a lot of pressure from the front, especially, you're going to be sticking with your
mm.
team, or you're going to be like doing those off angles more. Like think of, for example, different tank lineups, right?
Yeah.
If they're running like a Sigma, or a Ramatra, or a Zarya, or a
What's
Reinhardt,
what's
you're
some of
gonna,
my bad matchups? I know Zarya can be one of them,
yeah,
and Diva, but
yeah.
I'm also unsure of like at what point do I just call it quits? Like if they're running like I've had it before. It's like Zarya, Pharaoh,
Mhm.
Echo, or like it's something crazy, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, well, okay, I can't do shit anymore.
Yeah, that's completely up to you and how much you want to put in the Junkrat, because you can, just do the one trick main and just play and play and play them and learn how to do it even into handicapped situations, or you can be a
Mm,
little bit flexible and like maybe pick up another character or two for situations like that. And then if you
yeah,
notice that you're being pressured a ton because they have good counters to you, then you can swap off to them.
yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Like it's
Mhm.
usually like Junkrat and Fire just because it's sort
Yeah.
of what I know. May's been fun, but like I don't know how to play May. I don't know like the tricks. It's like okay, I can trap their tank in the front line and like block their heals, but it's also like it's like a flamethrower, I guess, and I don't know what to do with it. Who to focus, I guess, is May. I don't know like a lot of the who should I focus.
Lot we can go potentially go over target priority like more in depth in the future, but what really
Mm,
quickly just let like you focus what's easiest to kill for the most part. So
yeah.
if that's who's easier to kill, a Hanzo or a Lucio?
Mm. well, I mean, it depends. Hanzo will fucking one shot me. But usually Hanzo, I
Usually
take those
Hanzo.
fights.
Uh
If I
huh.
see a Hanzo, I'm going for it.
And who's usually easier to kill, a um Tracer or Zenyatta?
I'm going for Zen. I'm
Then yeah.
dive
So
bombing Zen.
so it kind of depends. Think about how easy are the different characters to kill, and are like who are you going to be able to, and then try to focus those down. But then
Mm.
you can also may a really big tip is that you want to try to isolate people using wall and get them away from their team, and then kill them. You can even do that with
Yeah.
tanks too.
Yep.
All right, let's do really quick. We got like 3 minutes here.
Mm.
Before like you have notes, so I don't have to do like too much in depth. I'll have all of your in depth review stuff in that. But do you have any final
Yep.
questions?
Um, I'm trying to think because like coming into it, like my main sort of question was like, I got like no hours. I do understand like a lot of the characters and their abilities. I don't understand a lot of the like techs, I guess you can
Mm-hmm.
do with like
Yeah.
different characters. Um, so for me, it's sort of like, who do I kill? When do I kill them? So like in a team fight, let's say, maybe like an alt team fight, my positioning, am I sort of I feel like I should be in sort of a team fight situation. I should sort of be closer if I want to do that brawl and like hit a lot of my shots on their tank, sort of melt their tank down. But I'm sort of a bit unsure because like DPS can also have like a massive like swing in a sense. Like you could you get like 3 kills, but then the Sojourn could like turn around and like wipe your team, kind of. So
Mm.
I think it's like more valuable to be like, okay, I'm gonna go kill supports, or I'm gonna really
Yeah.
laser
I
focus this tank.
So I'd say just generally speaking, like stick with your team, and then if you see the opportunity to go in an off angle or take a high ground or you see an opportunity for a kill, then go do it. Just don't do something stupid that's gonna go get you killed. Like
Yeah,
don't run into their team, don't go on a flank in the middle of a fight.
yeah.
But just generally stick with them until you see the opportunity to do something else, and then you can split up a little bit.
Mm. Yeah, okay,
All
that's
right.
fair enough.
Sounds good. Well, I'll have all of your in-depth stuff in your notes. Primary thing is probably just going to be cover, positioning, and how that affects your survivability. And
Mm.
then that's pretty much it. I'll get you